Hello and welcome again to another episode of Nerf News, your number one source for Nerf news. I am still in Vegas, so the audio is still garbage, and there is still not a little window O Drac up here, and that is okay, because you come to this channel for industry inside tips and, complete and total knowledge and experience, and then apologies when those things don't work out correctly. So, let's talk about this. I did just get my press release yesterday from Hasbro regarding both blasters, but we're going to start with this blaster because, frankly, it's less exciting, and we are going to save the best for last. Now, continuing with the nomenclature using the Greek deities, this is the Hades. Now, the Hades is just a big Artemis, and the continuity there from a mythology perspective does not exist. However, the Hades is a bigger Artemis. And we'll talk about that a little bit more later. What I do want to say right now is that this should be coming very soon in 2018. It is a new 2018 blaster, and we will get hands-on with it in a few weeks at Toy Fair. And obviously, this year, all Hasbro's doing is upgrading my favorite blasters. They turned the Nemesis into the Prometheus, which is interesting because that's another Titan shift. And then they've gone ahead and they've made the Artemis into the Hades. Now, I'm a big fan of spring-powered blasters. The Artemis, of course, has 30 rounds of capacity in its 3 tubes up here. They just elongated it. This is 2 Artemises smashed together to make a 60-round capacity Springer-style blaster shooting almost identically to the Artemis. Now, it looks hot. It's got the same jam door up here. It's got that really wonky vertical foregrip. Again, like the first thing that EOC and I are going to do is pop this thing off, design a 3D printed AFG, and slap that on there to improve the ergo. However, a lot of people were printing stock attachment points for the Artemis because, again, with only 30 round capacity, 10 balls stops about, yay, handle stops, yay, and we were making little stock attachment points here so that we could throw in-strike compatibility on it. The rival line never ever wanted in-strike compatibility, so this is very similar to the Ilios's stock attachment. And it's dope. I mean, it's got that awesome contour in it. I'm sure it's going to be very comfortable. It's also longer, which for a Nerf for my height and my size and my wingspan particularly is going to be very comfortable. I legitimately can't wait to get hands on this at Toy Fair. Literally, because I'm very excited for a full-sized rifle pump-action blaster with both slam fire, which this has, and a high capacity. So on one hand, you lose out on that ability to rapidly reload like an Elite Alpha Trooper from the in-strike system. But on the other hand, it still has that ultra-sweet swivel door up at the top, allowing you to load each of these tubes however you want and rotate through them so that you have a constant stream of ball blasting action from that front end. Yes, I'm sticking with ball blasting. I've also heard other euphemisms for what we call this rival space, but that one is really funny. I was about to say that it rolls off the tongue well, but I can't go that far with it. This is a wholesome Nerf channel, and we don't have 772 after our name. So, sling attachment points here, 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 and here. Obviously, this one is the intentional one, but you could choose any part of this thumb port here. So while this blaster is not going to be California compliant, it is going to be very ergonomic and comfortable. We've got the regular rival safety over here, but I want to briefly touch on just something very, very hilarious. When the Artemis dropped a while ago, a modder who goes by Intendinator on YouTube here made this, and this is what he called the Artemax, or the Max Artemis, and it is essentially like if you're not recognizing the exact profile of the blaster, complete with thumb port and additional stock attachment back here, this is 2 Artemis tubes slammed together for some sweet, sweet rival goodness, even porting over the full-size slide for that tube, plus some tactical goodness, and I had to give him a shout-out because it's Team Red. And if you're going to make the baddest rival Springer blaster around, you better put it on the correct team. However, this is an integration, which means that it's inherently rare and very valuable and somewhat fragile at those integration points, which means that while this is a really, really cool primary, it is not the one that you necessarily want to carry into battle when everything's on the line. This is going to be injection molded as all one piece, complete with side rails on the side, and I can't wait to throw it on a sling and just do some crazy 5v5 action with it. Speaking of 5v5, big news coming in that regard, but I'm going to wrap this video up because we still have to talk about the Prometheus. So that is, of course, the new flagship coming out. I will mention that the Artemis was initially dropped at a pretty expensive price point and then cut back to something very reasonable. You could pick up an Artemis these days at around $35 if you're diligent about it. Now, this is dropping at $70 United States dollars for its MSRP, which means that it will cost even more money overseas. So while it is the baddest rival Springer we have ever seen, period, end of story, no arguments accepted, it's going to come at a pretty steep price point for a toy blaster. So if $70 is in your wheelhouse, you're going to want to pick one of these up ASAP because they are the new hotness in Springer world as far as ball blasting is concerned. However, that's a ton of money for something that isn't even the flagship, which is a perfect segue into my Prometheus news video. So much love, Nerf on, Drac out.